Do you notice yourself feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, or like you've got all of these things in your life and can't possibly keep up, or feel like you are just trying to keep your head above water because there's so much going on and there's only so much of you? If you ever feel this way, then you are in the right place, because we are going to be talking about how to get ruthless about dealing with our stress and our overwhelm, and how to really get rid of a lot of that, because there's necessary stress and there's unnecessary stress. And a lot of us have a lot of unnecessary stress in our lives that we don't even realize is unnecessary. So we're going to talk about 3 really powerful ways to deal with that unnecessary stress so that we can focus our lives on the things that are important to us and do really matter. If you're new to me and this is the first time we're connecting, my name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, researcher, and online course creator. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help men and women get through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And unnecessary stress is a big one that gets in there and really prevents us from liking ourselves and our lives. So let's talk about this. What are the 3 ruthless things that we can do to start eliminating some of that unnecessary stress? And the 3 things that I'm going to tell you start with D's. So you need to remember these 3 D's. And the first D that we all need to do a lot better at is learning how to dump things in our lives that are not necessary, that are not helpful, that are not healthy, that are not serving, that are causing us a lot of unnecessary stress. So I don't know what this is in your life. For all of us, that looks differently. Are there expectations that we're putting on ourselves, or obligations that we're telling ourselves we have to fulfill that aren't actually really necessary, that aren't actually really all that important, and aren't really helping anyone? Then we need to dump that stuff. Is there a hobby that you did or you took up and you started doing at one time because you really liked it, because you got a lot out of it, that you thought it would be really fun? Maybe it's learning a new language, or learning an instrument, or doing something in your spare time. And when you started it, you really liked it, thought it would be great, but now it's just kind of hanging over your head, that you don't even really enjoy it, or you avoid it. Or if it's like an instrument, you see that guitar sitting in the corner collecting dust, and you feel guilty every time you look at it because you used to think that you wanted to learn how to play guitar and become really great at it. And now the thought of sitting down and strumming just makes you want to curl up or run away. That it's just not what it used to be for you. And so dump it, get rid of it. If the sole purpose of something was to bring you pleasure and it's no longer bringing you pleasure, then why would we keep that stuff around? If it's a relationship that is a toxic relationship, that you end up feeling like crap about yourself every time you're with that person, or you end up really just feeling self-conscious or really yucky, or just that person is totally draining. And I'm not talking about someone who's going through a hard time and maybe needs more than they're able to give right now. I'm not talking about dumping them, but you know those people where you kind of hang out with them and you go away feeling slimed, or feeling small, or feeling really insecure most of the time. And you just feel like they don't actually respect you or are a good friend to you. It's okay to move away from those relationships. It's okay to have people in our lives who lift us up, who build us up, who support us, who, when we go away from hanging out with them, we come away feeling like, I like myself and I feel good about myself when I'm with that person. It's okay to remove some of those relationships from our lives. So looking at some things in your life that you're keeping in, that you are maybe insisting on having in your life, but I want to invite you to ask yourself, is this healthy or helpful or serving or necessary? And if the answer to all of those questions is no, to dump that thing, create that space, clear out the junk, and create space for yourself so you can have less stress. The next one is to delegate. So if you have a bunch of things that you're trying to do, that you're trying to keep on top of, and you're running here and there and everywhere and have your hand in way too many pots and you're feeling super stressed and overwhelmed, I don't speak from experience on this one. Yes, I do. But learning how to delegate, that sometimes some of us tend to feel like we need to do it all in order to feel like we are doing well in life, in order to feel like, you know, we are successful. I'm only a success if it's hard and it's painful and it's overwhelming and I'm stressed out all the time, as opposed to letting ourselves delegate things. And so if you're someone who is a business owner, or if you're someone who, even just at work, learning how to delegate stuff, how to not feel like you have to do everything yourself, how to hire people to help you, to support you, to take a load off, to do the things that they can do so that you can focus on the things that only you can do. And if it's something at home, learning how to delegate tasks and chores and things that you have to do to keep your house going. If it means delegating the dishes to your kids or to your partner, if it means hiring someone, if you have the means to do it, hiring someone to come in and do your laundry or fold your laundry or clean your house. If that's an option for you, some of us tend to get a little bit sticky about stuff like that. And they think, oh, I could just, I'll just do it myself. I don't need to pay someone to do it. But if you've got a lot going on and if you have the money, to allow yourself to take that stress off, to get over the ego thing of thinking like you need to do it all and keep all these balls up in the air to be some kind of like super mom or superwoman or superman or whatever it is. No one cares. No one cares if you are doing everything, and no one is really going to give you a medal for it. The only thing that it's going to get you is stressed out, overwhelmed, probably a lot more angry and snappy and irritable than you would be if you allowed yourself to delegate some of these things, to allow other people to come in and help you out. There are 6 billion of us on this planet for a reason, because we're not meant to do it all alone. So if this is something you need to hear, this is something that is kind of ringing true for you, delegate. The next D is to delight in. And this one goes for those of us, if we can't dump something, if we can't delegate it, figuring out a way to delight in it. So if you're somebody who has a long commute to work and you hate that commute, but you can't get another job right now, or it just doesn't make sense, and that's just not an option for you, figuring out how to delight in it. Maybe it's listening to a really good podcast or a really good audiobook. Maybe it's starting a carpool with someone so that you're not driving by yourself, so you actually have someone there to chat with, to connect with, that you have a little bit of that social time. Or if it's a job that you really don't like right now, but getting another job is, again, not an option, but you have to go to that job. You can't dump it. You can't delegate it to someone else. So what do? How do you delight in it? Maybe it means getting out at lunchtime and going for a walk, or going somewhere for lunch, or just doing something that you enjoy throughout your day, taking a break to do something that you enjoy, something that you could look forward to, something that you could do to delight in your day in some way. If it's exercise, if you're somebody who you're like, I know I need to exercise more, because a lot of us for our own mental health and physical health, we need to be moving our bodies. And some of us are like, I hate exercise and I can't dump it because I know that it's good for my health. I know that it's good for my physical health and my mental health and just my happiness and well-being. So I can't just cut it out of my life. And I also can't get somebody else to exercise for me, which would be nice some days, in all honesty. Wouldn't that be nice? So how do I delight in it? Well, sticking on a headset, listening to some really good music, or going for like a power walk and calling a friend and catching up with a friend while you are doing that. Or again, listening to some kind of really great podcast, something that gets your brain stimulated, that you're excited about listening to while you're outside or at the gym, moving your body and getting all of the benefits from that. Maybe it's that you can't delegate cleaning in your house or doing the dishes, and you can't dump that unless you want to live in a sty. You can't dump it and you can't delegate it, and you don't have the means to be able to have someone come in. How can you delight in that? If you can, again, listen to some music, a podcast while you're doing the dishes, put some loud music on in your house and put on your like cleaning music. I recommend a good 80s pop rock playlist, but that's just me. But letting yourself delight in those things, figuring out a way, if you can't cut it out of your life, if you can't get rid of it, if you can't get someone else to do it, how can I make this more enjoyable? How can I make this even fun? How can I stop dreading it and start getting into it, or at least enjoying it a little bit? So dump it, or delegate it, or delight in it. Using these as rules for our lives. When we notice ourselves feeling super stressed out and overwhelmed, what can I dump? What can I delegate? How can I delight in this more? You also want to make sure that you grab my free handout on 9 unexpected ways to immediately reduce stress. I've got a lot of other really simple, straightforward tips and tricks and exercises that you can do anytime, any place to reduce the stress in your life, because a lot of us have too much stress, and I think most of us could do with having less. So don't leave before you grab that. I'll put the link in the notes. Also, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share your comments. What helps you to feel less stressed out when you are feeling that way? Or what are you going to commit to dumping, delegating, or delighting in moving forward from here? Share that with me. I would love to hear it. Also, come and join our Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. It is full of the most supportive and encouraging and insightful and fun men and women. It's a free Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. Come on over and join us there, and we can keep more of this conversation going. Thanks so much for being here, and until next time, take good care.